Chapter 1, Return to Randomness. Diamond and Susan ran out the Golden Hotel, but were greeted by a roaring ice monster. It was in black and white because that's how Dark Mirror was. "Hey guys. What are you doing here? Have you been watching So?" Max was flying around. He had rocket shoes that he used to fly around. He was using a very thin fire whip. The life bar of the blacktail was decreasing like molasses. If Max didn't get help soon, he was losing this video game, with 0 achievements at that. Diamond had a higher power level than even Max in this game, but as we know, Susan has never played the game before. Susan was the last child Max and Diamond had before they became angel-like creatures who can't have children. He had her right before he fought the devil in the last book. It's been a few years since then, so she wasn't really old enough to know what the Heaven Helmet was. It was basically a super sophisticated VR headset that created a simulation of Dark Mirror. They could use magic or like a training room that teleport them digitally or like magically, but Max didn't intend or like purpose to leave the house, so he used the helmet. Elizabeth was playing the game with her dad Max. All Max's kids were there, the 7. Them dogs, dem dogs. Diamond screamed and sent super rapid fireballs from both her hands, arms extended in front of her. The monster howled like a monster, screech, high-pitched, loud. "Listen guys. He's just gonna try to heal, we have to find a way to make sure it doesn't sit down," Max yelled. Lindsay floated the blacktail with leaves, then Elizabeth made a pool of fire under it. It wouldn't be able to sit on a single leaf, so it would fall onto the lava. This is how this kinda always felt to Max. When we come back to life, what was life but one big, nice, neat, swell, polite, awesome, video game? Mario was still nicer in a way, but Max loved coming back to this world to kick some butt every now and then. "Anyone else hungry?" Ashley asked in a humorous, calm way. They all took their helmets off. They were on FaceTime. "Helmets are the way to go," said Elizabeth in a humorous, calm way, just like her sister. Max loved them. They still struggled so much, but Max loved them a lot. That's what mattered. This was kinda all they did. Helmets were the way to go to meanies. They talked about it before. Elizabeth told the truth, but it was true, for today, because they felt like Susan would finally ask what Max was doing. They usually liked to go into the simulation rooms, that way it wasn't weird to the wicked. Spending all our time in heaven playing video games might seem counterintuitive, but Max pitted his kids. It taught them a lot about suffering, love, drama, romance, violence, niceness, meanness, everything. The NPCs got married. Ashley's idea. Smart kid. Lots of beings might be like romance, fuck 'em. She said it, we wrote it, we took advice, but you know what? She was a lot smarter than the wicked thought. When we ate in the game, it nourished our real bodies as well, though in heaven we didn't necessarily need food. Anyone feeling some chicken wings? Everyone laughed. Phiro, Ishal, Alex, God, a little talking hamster. We all ate some wings, barbecue, buffalo. It tasted just like meat, but it was vegan. It wasn't like imitation meat on Earth, which was still really nice, neat, swell, and polite. It tasted just like meat. Once everyone was filled up with fake meat goodness, they all teleport to the same training room, a huge room with metal walls and a wooden floor, same one from before in a way. The scene became the scene they were just in. The men had pain mode on, like some women, but it was off for all children. To varying degrees, our heroes chose to feel pain so they could be nicer, neater beings. The blacktail intended to fake a sneeze, but it felt it was actually sneezing, was too calm, intended to sit. But the leaves wouldn't hold its weight, but once it started falling it kept falling, so it melted in the fires of Elizabeth's magical power. An NPC couple joined them, Jacob and Cynthia. They kissed. That was awesome. Lindsay and Elizabeth, what inspired you guys to think of that? they asked. They were so nice. Lovely beings, but we know there's no marriage in heaven, not to hurt us, but just to make us nicer. To prove it wasn't that mean, we had these NPCs who weren't hurt by their romance, but just weren't as fulfilled or like joyful as the unmarried in the celestial realm of Sabaoth, the little white man who watches us all. Alexandra said, we heard there were some blacktails who were getting high by eating power wires in an abandoned power plant. We feel like they shouldn't do that, Yano. So, let's go stop 'em. Nice idea, Alex. You'll be in your element. We feel you should take the lead on this one. Max said. He was Infinity and 26 years old. But he didn't look a day over 22. They all teleport to the power plant. It was Team All, Abejug, Kyle, Preston, Fyro, Ishal, Max's 7 daughters, Diamond, and an unhittable, unfeeling Susan. No pain mode, Yano? A giant lightning bolt took Alex out. Everyone's ears started ringing. Her hair became super fuzzy. Slight pain mode. We're okay. Max wept. Pain or not, he still felt bad for his own daughter. She said we're okay in a hurt, strained, pained way, but she was acting as we didn't feel pain. We all acted. Her eyes looking like lightning bolts were in them. She started glowing electricity, then sent that Blacktail's attack back at it so hard it howled like a deep-voiced demon. Its life bar was at 1 HP. Susan teleported in front of the Blacktail's face, so she blew fire bubbles. They only did 1 HP damage, but Yano what? To her dad it might as well have been infinity. Max kissed Susan. Oh yesh mommy, oh yesh whittle mama 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 mama, oh yesh. He didn't curse in front of his kids. That's how we know he didn't get too lost in the sauce like the Romans said. If this was real life, Max would be screaming all kinds of inappropriate curses or like swears, but his emotions were in check because he knew everyone was safe. Blacktails emerged from the shadows, chewing huge power cables. They glowed like electricity with lightning bolts in their own eyes. Max sent ice at all of them, but only one picked ice shield. The others picked electricity, fire, air, water, ice, and shadows. Lindsay had to be our secret weapon then. Blacktails had the power of teleportation, so let me tell ya, this wasn't easy. Whenever someone sent out an attack they'd just switch. Lindsay knew she should hide her power, so she used her sword or light gun, which we all carried, though it might not always be visible. Max used tables, chairs, cups, plates. He hit them all with a tree, but to be sarcastic, none of them re-upped their shield for plants. Lindsay knew her time was here, then sent razor-sharp rose petals at all the Blacktails. They were all halfway down. Max's gauge limit filled, so he used it to make the Blacktails repick their power shields, but in fear they all chose nature. So we let em have it. Ishal stole the show with a blizzard so cold they all froze in place, then blew up in little increments up their bodies until they were snow dust on the floor of a black and white power plant. Ha! The power of plants. Max is going to take a seat back to let some of his friends tell their stories. They went back to the Golden Hotel, to the beach. Some things never change, we guess. Chapter 2, Lovely Light. Diana was fishing in a peaceful village. This version of Dark Mirror had more civilized societies. This was a peaceful fishing village, but still, all was black and white. The NPCs were also completely black, like light or like silhouettes, though they could become more normal. So Diana made them normal because she liked how it looked. She also made everything look normal cause she wasn't Max. She was her own dog, though she loved a dog called Max. She caught many fish and kept them in a cooler to eat later with her friends. Something was wrong though. Her rod became so heavy if it weren't for magic it would have broke. A huge fish flew out the water, then started attacking the small fishing village with water attacks. Diana blinded it, then sent balls of light at it, about a fifth down. Her friend Tashiera, a talking Tyra, sent emeralds, diamonds, rubies, sapphires, garnets, onyx, lapis, and tourmaline at it. They were vertically long hexagons. About 5/6 down. The giant fish opened its mouth, sent its sticky tongue out, ate Teixeira and jumped back in the water. Diana wept, then jumped in the water to catch the fish. There were so many blacktails she surrounded herself with a light force field, then sent it out with such force it eliminated all the blacktails right away. They were small fish or like swimming plants. Mean ol, rude ol, impolite ol motherfuckers. Teixeira made the inside of the fish glow, then jewels flew out of it very quickly that glowed their respective, brilliant colors. They held hands, then swam back to shore. Diana sat with her friends on the beach at night, roasting their fish. Sorry Toddy, we wish we could have helped more. Diana said. It's cool Diana. Toddy was a light-skinned black woman with long curly hair, but her normal form was again a beautiful, clean Tiara. We know that thing took you off guard. Fuck it. But please be careful next time, Yano. It was our fault really. While we went hunting for firewood you were fighting our dinner. Toddy said with a quiet confidence. She smiled. They knew they weren't really in danger. Diana said, well, what do you guys think? That's one of the nastier ones we've seen. Diana said. She smiled with a quiet confidence. Poor kid, she's come a long way from pup days. There were 3 men there, Brad, Peter, and Edward, yeah, the guys from the beach. Well, one time we saw a sequoia blacktail, enormous. Brad said with a chuckle and smile. But was it big? Or was it mean and fucking worse than a big fucking fish? Diana said. She felt insecure. She missed her dad. But despite all her insistence, Max said she should get out more. Well, no. Sorry. Brad laughed. We all made mistakes, what mattered was learning from them. But man, that thing was no pushover, that's for sure. Peter said one time we saw a car blacktail, but, no. Man, we even rode in it. He laughed. Talk about a fender bender. He laughed again. Nice man. Teixeira said, well guys, we're glad we have friends like y'all. It'd be funny if we invited the NPCs. They all laughed. LOL, it was pretty funny. Diana said, yeah, well, we're glad you guys are all real, 'cause you're real awesome. What do you guys think our dad's doing? Diana said this with a quiet confidence. She was just like her dad. Tough, kind, loving, a seriously good melee player. Well. Ed started. He's probably watching your little sister in Golden Hotel. He laughed. Probably at the beach. What a nice man. We remember when we first met him. Aw. Glad we fucking made it, we weren't sure there for a bit. They all laughed. Max was proud of his kid. She's come a long way from when they used to eat scraps. Diana wept a lot. They all got up and hugged. All right, come here, don't oppress the poor for they're poor. They all cried and hugged, wiped their tears and laughed. They rode dragons over the dark mirror. Max was glad Diana's dark mirror was kinda light, then he thought, that makes sense, he named her Light after all. Chapter 3, Susan. Silly shape solving. Susan stared at the shapes with a serious concentration, the kind Diamond couldn't touch. She didn't know, did the square go in the circle, square, or triangle? She picked up the cube, considered all her options. The chains of her mind were pups, baby food, Barney, Sesame Street, and Susan. She was named after a baby Max met at a beach. She was a beach ball. This Susan, however, was a beautiful little human being. The math of her mind raced. If we pick circle, it might fit, but might isn't nice enough for dear genius Susan. Square seemed more logical, but the wicked lied, they might be lying now. Triangle, looked like square with rough edges, but poison ivy looked like ivy, but rashes didn't look like normal skin. No. Max didn't let that happen, but they did watch a video. Max said, you wonder what your big sister's doing. He wept, he was just a leaky little faucet. Yeah, no Susan, you were born a baby, but your sister was born a dog. A dog? Susan asked. Can we be a dog, Daddy? No, our love. Well, Max made her a dog. She laughed, then tried sleeping. Hey silly. We gotta find out why the wicked won't tell us where the shape goes. Listen. We feel, it might be square, but if it's not, no, it's the fault of the blacktails, not yours. Daddy? Susan asked. Yes, our love, Max replied. We wish this was easier. Diamond walked over. Listen, baby. We struggled with this too when we were your age. All you can do is pray, become a dog aunt, intend or like purpose every dang hole until we get lucky. Life's all about luck, kid. Diamond said. She was a nice mom. Max loved her. She missed Cassie. Our friends were busy nowadays. With Max saving the world, it left everyone with a lot of free time. Diamond's hand guided Susan's circle didn't work, but square did. Susan laughed and clapped. Mommy, why didn't we have to intend or like purpose every hole? Will it fit in the last one too? Susan asked, so cute, so innocent, so mixed race. Well honey, we could cut the triangle, like another triangle, then it would fit. But, like your dad says, there's a time and place for everything, so we could, but it might make us sad. How come, Mommy? We don't intend or like purpose to make you and Daddy sad. Diamond picked up her kid and wept. They knew God didn't exactly like for beings to be called Dad, so they usually intended or like purposed for Susan to say Max, not Dad, but it was fine. What could be done? Well, think of it like this: if every shape looked or like felt the same, we'd be sad because there wouldn't be much variety to life. Oh. Duh. So. Susan knew, for she knew it all, but she was still so confused. Her mom picked her up and kissed her a lot. How about we go swimming, baby? Diamond said. She knew Susan was smart. Shapes were dumb anyway. How often did shapes come up in real life? There were shape celestials. Every celestial studied their thing forever and ever, unlike humans or like angels who were broader. Diamond laughed with her baby. Diamond made Max a nicer being. He usually would have just chilled on the beach, but he felt he should swim as his daughters. He saw Diamond as a daughter in a way. Wow! Diana just hooked a giant fish. Max knew psychically. Diamond got the info. Susan too. Nice for her. We just say hi to her later. Diamond said. She knew Max loved Diana, but she felt he might be too hard on her sometimes. We're dumb or like. I'm dumb, we feel like. It's nice for her to be alone or like with friends, but, you're right, we'll say hi to her later. How about now, Daddy? Diana said. Diana. Me and your mother were just talking about you. Good job on that effin' fish. Fuck bad people. Don't say effin' in front of kids. Okay, fuck you. We hope that was better. Tell me, was it worse than the ocean lighting man, the upside down one? Same level, but probably a little worse. They smiled and hugged and fist bumped. Legit. Wanna swim? Max replied. Sure. We brought our friends, Dad. Oh shiz. What's up, guys? Long time no FNC. How are we? Max said, excellent, sir. EFF shapes. They're pointless. Especially circles. They all laughed hard. Then swam. Kids, teen, adults, elders, flooded the speech. They named it after God. Max was too humble for all that. God's gold water, nice name. The heat was burning, the sky was blue, the clouds weren't there, the sand was tan, like diamond. Max was happy. But now we was always happy, but if we think about it, he was always happy. Max held his baby. She had a sphere in one hand and the holes in the other, and kept hitting the sphere on the square until it accidentally went in the circle. That's our little genius. We did it, Daddy. She hid her hand on her forehead. Oh, she smiled really big. blushed really hard, and had a million little light bulbs go off in her head at once. It's like, the circle goes. Oh my god, how obvious, but like so not obvious at the same time. She hugged her parents. You're a genius, just like your parents, baby, Max said. Proud dad. Diana held her little sister and put her on her shoulders. The camera swung and panned to the blue sky. The sun rang. Heat and cold. End of scene. Next chapter, yo. Chapter 4, Eliza's incredible inclusion of increments. Eliza the talking shirt was a character who swam with Max in the last book and gave him one of his favorite memories ever. Swimming with talking clothes in a heated pool in the snow, cannonballing off a roof, water flying in the air then landing back in the pool, laughing with friends and family. She was in a huge hedge maze. She bet Lacey, Eliza, and Joy, she could beat this maze in 10 minutes. She was moving like shirt lightning. She became a human being because she thought it'd be funny. She dashed through that maze like a rubber ball, or like an Etch-a-Sketch, or like a 3D film. She met talking rabbits with top hats, monocles, tux coats, tea, and a talking table, a talking chair, a talking potted rose, a talking sun, a talking moon, a talking turtle. They all were dressed like the rabbit. Eliza was so confident she didn't see any harm in taking a tea break. How are we, guys? So do you guys know the way out of here? Eliza asked. Sure. But what's the fun of that, dear talking shirt? We know you're smart enough to figure it out. Our advice. They talked with funny, fancy accents. Posh, British even. It's shaped kinda like a snake, or like a dragon, or like a worm, or like a shoestring. The talking chair finished. Obviously, she said in a silly way with a fake mustache on. It's just, we told our friends we'd finished in 10 minutes. Obviously, they all said with a quiet confidence. Well, you have to be fast like rabbits, a rabbit said with a wise, high-pitched, caring voice. And patient and strong like an elderly white-haired, Grandpa Tortoise. Grandpa Tortoise said. Thanks, guys. Well, don't be in a hurry, our child, we'll show you the way out, said the talking Sunday. Really? Eliza said. She was super happy. She had a big smile on her face and she was excited to finish this bet so she could get her $20. Of course, child, said the talking moon with a quiet confidence. In exchange for knowledge, that is, you know, knowledge is power. Finished the talking moon. This kinda reminded Eliza of Alice in Wonderland, Auron, Cora, and some other stuff we don't know. We're not her, we're Max. So, what's the best armor a talking table could wear? Well, it depends. If you want something professional, the silent suit increased stealth and is still sleek and stylish, but if you want something bulkier, the knight's table fits tables of all sizes, decreased movement adds to defense and is sturdy enough to last a lifetime. Eliza said. They all laughed. And Eliza, we're friends. We're not here to put you on trial. The tea gang went through the maze like lighting with tons of time to spare. Eliza cried, sweet woman. Thanks, guys. How can we repay you? Eliza said, crying a lot. She got on her knees to bow before them. Please just give King Max our nicest regards, oh, and that $20. Kidding. Unless. They all gave funny looks at each other. Duh. We'll give you your heart's weight in gold, we're just afraid you wouldn't know where to put so much gold. They cried and hugged. They went to the beach. Unlike fiction, in heaven, friends and family are forever. End of scene. Next chapter. Duh. Chapter 5, Toy Soldier Tanks. Tohiro was a little toy soldier alien. He was infinitely old, but he knew all there was to know about toy soldiers, guns, tanks, armies, and stuff like that. He was with Susan. Hi, Susan. We like that you're small. We're also small. When we're small, it makes the world around us seem much bigger, so Being small is kinda a blessing, Yano, smiley face, Tohiro said with quiet confidence. Susan, in this life, it'll seem like there's many contradictions. To counteract these contradictions, we know God never lies, but we also know what we know love's in our heart, so no one can take it out. God would make sure meanies never knew niceness, but conversely, he would let the nice know they'll never be hurt. Tohiro said. He became a tall man with hairy arms, a beard, brown hair, bushy eyebrows, and hugged and kissed Susan. Thank Tohiro. We intended or like purposed a real, experienced soldier to tell our daughter that while war is an invention of the wicked, we can still live happy, peaceful live. Max said. He sounded happy and proud of his daughter and friend. Of course, Max. It's a pleasure and honor to be with the man who saved Dark Mirror from Satan. Tohiro said with a scruffy, quiet, nice, and confident voice. The thing was, this world wasn't necessarily digital, it was more magical, but that was surely a way to see it. Susan, we know it's a contradiction, but sometimes, war makes peace. We know it sounds crazy, but when God died, it was like a war in his mind. But you know what? Tajay said with a nice, neat, swell, polite, cool, kind tone. He won. The Lord Sabaoth, the commander of heaven's armies, won. But not with hatred or like weapons or like violence, but with like love, but love for his own enemies, so they were so ashamed they left the righteous alone forever. Susan said. Infinity was in that voice, surely and truly the daughter of the true God of heaven, not necessarily Max's daughter, but he was glad to be her dad for sure. So true, Susan. Goo goo. Goo goo. Goo goo. Tajay kissed her, hugged her, and made a lot of silly baby noises with her, then said, "You ready, Max?" he said with quiet confidence. Of course. Max replied. He grabbed his baby, gave her some hugs and kisses and reassurances, then gave her to her mom. Love you girls. We'll be back, we're gonna go kick butt. Please be careful, husband. Love you, man. Later. Diamond said in a royal, elegant, kind, nice voice. They made out a little, then Max and Tajay vanished. They were in a town, black and white. The NPCs were silhouettes: white, black, brown, red, white, even blue. The smoke from weapons was white, the buildings were outlined, it looked like neon. God bless Diana, we love her notion of color, we just feel black and white looks nicer, neater, sweller, cooler, and all that. Max could send only the littlest missiles. But they packed a nice big punch. Poor Max. He intended or like purposed for kids to know life was about fun, not who was the strongest, for it was God anyway. God proved the same thing by dying. Max was hit by what looked like his own move, his life bar went down about 1/8. What the, he thought to himself. Look, we're not the strongest, but like, that looked just like our own attack. Max loved Little Toy Soldiers by Eminem. He also loved Till I Collapse, which started playing for the heroes to hear, not the villains. A mirror. What was a mirror doing in a battlefield? Max called in a favor and a loud shriek broke the glass of the mirror. His life bar went all the way down. The glass was clear though, for we suppose clear isn't a color. Thanks, audio. Don't mention it, buddy. Hey Max. Let's hear some poetry, huh? Sure. Under the lightning, snowy, icy, drowning sun, under the snowing, angelic, icy, snowing, angelic, icy, icy, snowy, drowning, angelic, icy, icy, snowing, angelic, icy, icy, snowing, angelic, storming sun, under the angelic, icy, icy, lightning, no less angelic, vein, snowing, angelic, vein, vein, drowning, raining, loving, icy, icy, snow, angels, ice, ice, snow, storms, 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 angels, ice, 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 snow, storms, angels, ice, 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 sun. Nice, man. Well, call if you need me again. Just Yano. They both said, probably for mirrors. They laughed a lot. Something like that, love you, man. Bye. They both hugged. Max said his partings, then audio left. Max let out a pretty loud shriek, not from his mouth but aura. It rattled the blacktails a bit, for they knew he didn't have audio powers. No, he had them all, just he intended or like purposed to make sure that mirror became a reflective dust so bright, so mean, so nice, so refined, so fine, it scratch any mirror's surface so hard it became transparent or like translucent or like opaque or like two mirrors or like God bless Amaranth. Max was hit by two Blacktail, Shadowtail, God bless Anya and Furiosa, toy soldiers on roofs. His life bar was going down. He conjured a potion that reminded him of an elf man, sword man, drank it, then his life bar went up, but wouldn't go down for a minute. He spun like an elegant ice skater, ballerina kinda of thing. It wasn't really him. During this attack he transformed into an infinitely long pole that flashed like planets or like supernovae or like lightning bolts of fire or like ice or like snow angels ice ice snowstorms angels ice ice snowstorms angels ice ice ice. This sent ice everywhere, the size of a bead but the power of a bullet, fire beads, electric beads, his gauge filled. Max conjured gas masks for the fellow toy sodders. He pulled what looked like a grenade's pin from a grenade, but in reality it was a smoke light spike infinity physical, intangible, blacktail fucking eliminator. The miasma shot